little more graphics to this video to help me further explain what I'm trying to explain, because I'll tell you what, producing pool videos is not easy. You really have to get into it and really have to convey your message. And because it is a somewhat complicated game and there's so many things happening at once, sometimes what you're trying to say gets lost in verbal communication. Sometimes it helps to put text in, but instead of text, I want to put some graphics in. So let's watch the video first with no graphics, no commentary, no anything, and then we're going to go back over it and watch it and just analyze it step by step, and this time with some really cool graphics to get my point home to y'all, because I really truly do want to try to help you improve your game. I can't do it by myself, it's you that has to do it, but I can put you on the right path. And if the last, I don't know how many years of my life, many years, makes any sense at all, it's that I came out of it with something to give, something that's going to make your life a little bit better. Comprende? I think that's the best reason in the world to produce these videos. It's not just a bunch of waste of time. I can actually use what I've learned to help you avoid years and years and years of making mistakes. Anyway, I'm rambling as usual. Let's get on with it. It looks like I'm putting a whole lot of draw on this one ball, but I'm not. If I was, I would be drawing it all the way back to here. If you put top on this one ball, obviously it's probably going to run into the sixth and just bounce anywhere. If you put center ball English, you're using a stun shot. If it doesn't spin at all to the one, if it's just sliding across the table, it's a stun shot. And most guys will tell you to play it like this, but a stun shot is going to send the cue ball right into the 4. So to avoid that angle, we're going to put a little bit of draw on it and just send it. It still goes back up table a little bit on this angle right here, but to keep it from going on this angle right here, we need to just put a hair of draw on it. And again, I know it looks like I'm putting a lot on it, but I'm really not, because I'm not hitting it very hard. The agenda here is to get straight in on the 2. And the reason for that is because from a straight in position we can get any kind of angle we want. On the 3 we come down low and force it up to that rail and center table. We're trying to get center table back up on the 4. And you can get straight in on the 3 and put a little bit of left hand English and draw on it to come back off this rail and send it to center table. We're just going to take this one in pieces instead of going the whole rack. It's a pretty easy run out, but because we're putting different graphics in this video, I'm going to stop and explain a few things. So we're just going to take it 4 balls ahead for now. Yeah, because I'm really jacked up on this more than usual, and that's because of this 5 ball right here. I'm not spinning the living hell out of this cue ball. I'm just spinning it enough to send it pretty much on this angle here. And again, I'm trying to get straight in on the 2. I wound up getting straight in on the 3, and I forget to put left-hand English on it. I just had an idiot moment. I drew it back, but I didn't put left-hand English on it to send it to widen the angle when it comes back on this rail. And I'll explain that further when we get to the 6 or the 3 ball. But the agenda from there, from center table on the 4, is to pull back a little bit of draw and not get straight in on the 5, but as close to that rail as we can get without being straight in, because we need the rail to bounce off of and get down on the 6. And I'll push that thought a little bit further when we get there. Yeah, I didn't draw this enough, and I completely forgot to put left-hand English on it again. And let's look at this cue ball in a little bit of different way than you normally look at it. And we're going to cut right here and put a graphic in here so I can illustrate my point. So right here at this part, the flexion is also going to come up. And then we'll take this explanation a little bit further when we come back here. Alright, this is an old-fashioned child's toy that we all know and love, and it's called a top. So if we look at the cue ball as if it's a top, and if we hit it left of center, if we put left-hand English on it, it's going to spin this top clockwise. Okay, in a clockwise motion. Now, what most people don't understand when they do this is it's also going to squirt the top a little bit off path. It's going to send it a little bit to the right of your line of aim. So if you line up an object ball with the cue ball and you hit its center and you have it aimed right and perfect, and then you decide to put a little bit of left-hand English on it and keep that line of aim, it's going to send this cue ball a little bit to the right if you put left-hand English on it. And this is called deflection. And there's a lot of confusion in this, but just imagine if it's a top, and imagine if the actual top is spinning, and we put left-hand English on it to spin it even faster. This top is going to move a little bit to the right before it goes straight, and that is deflection. And now you understand what it is. So if we're cutting a cue ball to the right and we're putting left-hand English on it, you're apt to hit it a little bit fuller than you thought you were going to hit it, and you're apt to miss it. And that's because it's taken off this way to the right before it goes straight. Now, just to continue, here we are putting right-handed English on the top, and it's going to spin it counterclockwise. It's going, okay, the opposite of a clock. And on the same token, if we put right hand English on it, it's going to spin, it's going to squirt the top a little bit to the left before it goes straight. So on that same shot, if we're shooting a right hand cut on the object ball and we put a little bit of right on it, because it's sending the top a little bit to the left, a little bit of deflection to the left, you're apt to overcut that shot. Okay? So anytime you're putting English on a cue ball, anytime, whether it's right bottom, right top, left bottom, it's deflecting the cue ball. And you're going to have to compensate your aim for that. So you can't aim it in what looks right. You're going to have to understand what that English is doing to the cue ball and how it's squirting it a little bit to the left if you're putting right hand English on it, and a little bit to the right if you're putting left hand English on it. Comprende? Alright, let's move on. So, okay, if I had put left hand English on this with the draw, because it would be spinning clockwise and still spinning clockwise when it draws back to this rail, it will grab this rail and send it up on this angle for center table. Now if we put right hand English on it, and bottom, it's going to draw back and die, because the English spinning counterclockwise is going to grab this rail. It's just all English is going to die because it's coming back on this angle and spinning against the angle. So left hand English would spin it with the angle and help it. Right hand English will kill it off this rail. So we pull back probably hard enough. It's just that we didn't put any left hand English on. So it kind of died here. So now we have to reevaluate the plan, and instead of drawing back to where we want it to be on the 5, we're going to have to push forward with a little bit of left hand English to spin the ball clockwise. This is top left, to spin it clockwise, so when it grabs this rail, it'll send it on that angle to where we need to be on the 5. But I didn't put enough top on it, and probably not enough left hand English on it either to get to that 5. And there's a number of ways we can play the 5. We're trying to get back down on the 6, but don't forget we have to get on the 7 for this corner. We can't shoot it in this corner because the 8's in the way. So it's all about getting the right position on this 7 and just draw back for this 8 and either stopping on the 8 or come down to this rail and bounce out for a straight in shot on the 9. So this is top left here. Not enough left. It winds up hitting the 7, which is what we didn't want. So if we look at this 6, and we're trying to find the line, go back to the #1 pull secret ever. I forget what I named the video. Pull's #1 secret or something like that. I'll stick it up here, up in, I think it's in that corner up there. Right there. YouTube. So here we are on the 5. And if we go back to the 6 and we draw a straight line from the back of the pocket straight through the 6, it's heading somewhere around this rail here. Right about here. So if we take the opposite angle off that and widen it, we're almost where we need to be on the 5 if we're trying to play this side of the 6, which I wind up trying to play. So we're drawing this back with a little bit of left and a little bit of bottom to try to hit that spot on right after that pocket to get straight in on the 6, and then we can just draw back for the line on the 7. I want to get a little bit to the top of the 7, not the 50-yard line, but a little bit to the right of the line of aim, so I can just draw back and shoot the 8 in the same pocket. So I wound up getting on top of it. If again we go back to the line of aim on the 6, I'm about a ball to the right of that line. So instead of drawing back for a shot on the 7, I have to go to the bottom round, bounce back up. So this would just be a straight top on this. Straight top, go forward and bounce out. And I get a little bit more than a little to the right. I'm pretty much on the 50-yard line here. Not exactly, but a little bit. I'm exactly center table when I want it to be a little bit right of center table to draw back for the 8 ball. So here once again, I got stupid, and we're drawing back. But because I forget to put right hand English this time, because right hand English will spin it clockwise, so it's still going to be drawing back off this. It's going to come to this extreme angle here, even if we draw it, because we're on a pretty bad angle here. But when it hits this rail, if I had put right hand English on it, it would have spun it back on this angle for the 8. Instead, because it had no left or right on it, it actually acts like it had left hand English on it and went that way. You can see it bend like that. But when it hits this rail, it goes that way because we got stupid and didn't put the English on it. The good part about it is we just wound up with a short poker for the side, and we're on the 9 automatically. So yeah, the right thing to do here is put right hand English on it to grab this round, send it in that angle. You see, you saw a curve, right? And it wants to go this way, but because there is no English on it, it's just spinning backwards and skidding. It's going to hit this rail and go down table instead of back up table. Just got stupid on it. So the whole point of this whole video is to understand English and to understand what the cue ball is doing on an intellectual level. You have to know if it's spinning clockwise or counterclockwise, bottom or top. You don't just know out of memory. You have to understand the cue ball, because positions, come up all the time, and you're going to want to know. You're going to ask yourself, well, what do I want the cue ball to do here, and why do I want that? Or how do I achieve that? What way do I need the cue ball to be spinning? And how much spin? All that. And yeah, like I said, this is just a poke in the side. So you can see why I just choose to do this in pieces instead of through, playing the whole rack. We just went 4 balls ahead on every shot. And it's funny, I've seen amateurs who understand why you should think 4 balls ahead. But as soon as they get to the 4 ball, they forgot that on the 2, they were supposed to be up to the 5. And when they're shooting at the 3, they're supposed to have a plan up to the 7. And when they're shooting on the 4, they're supposed to have a plan up to the 8. They just shoot the 1, 2, 3, and get on the 4 and say, uh-oh. And then they start just thinking 1 ball at a time. And they get in trouble, so you have to train your brain. And again, in a normal situation and every day, I'm thinking all 9 balls ahead. So when I shoot the 1 ball, I only have to think 8 more balls ahead. And when I'm shooting the the 2 ball, I'm only so each ball I make, the game gets easier and easier and easier to figure out. Boy, I'm giving you a boatload here. So there we are. I mean, it's over. We got here. It wasn't exactly the prettiest rack I ever ran, but it gave me. I just look. I put my stick down. I walk away, and I'm going outside and taking a deep breath and getting some fresh air and giving myself cancer. Yeah, I walked away a little bit pissed off at myself. I could tell. Let's go back and see this a little bit of a temper tantrum. I was like, fuck this shit. Anyhow, thank you guys for tuning in. A lot came up, and a lot comes up in every video. Tune in for the next one. There's all kinds of great stuff coming up.